Hi guys! In this Arduino tutorial, we're going to create a Bluetooth HC-05 smart home lighting simulation, and here is an example. So we've got ourselves an Android smartphone with an app, and we've got the Arduino board as well as the 3 LEDs with the HC-05 Bluetooth module. Now, we can press the buttons, say turn on the bedroom light, turn on the dining room light, turn on the kitchen light. You can turn all the lights on or turn all the lights off, like that. And these are both connected and communicating with Bluetooth. So this is the Fritzing diagram. We're going to be using 3 LEDs with the respective resistor and the jump wire, which are all male to male. And we're going to be using the HC-05 Bluetooth module for communication. We're going to need one Arduino Uno R3 board, one mini breadboard, which we're going to connect everything to. Basically speaking, we've got the 3 resistors, 220 ohm resistors for the 3 LED 5mm lights. These are green colored, by the way. We also need the HC-05 Bluetooth module, and we need 9 jump wires, male to male. You will notice I've got 5 long wires and 4 short wires. These are about 20mm and these are 10. And we're going to use the red and the black to connect the power. We're going to connect the circuit together using the red and black wires. Basically connect this to the breadboard, and we're also going to connect the Bluetooth module to the breadboard also. All right, let's start building this thing. So we've got the Arduino board. I'm going to move these wires aside so we've got some room in the middle, and then we'll start building. Let's put the breadboard on the right and the Uno board on the left. Now I'm going to flip this over because I want the positive rail to be at the bottom, which will align to the Fritzing diagram. And let's make a start. So we're going to have 2 wires, one red and one black. We're going to power up the positive rail and the negative rail. So we want this to go into 5 volt and put that into the positive rail. And this one respectively goes into the negative rail. So let's put that in there. There we go. Now the next part is we want to get the LED lights plugged in. Now remember, LED lights have a long leg and a short leg. And remember, the short leg is the negative and the long leg is the positive. So we want to put the negative cathode, more like the cathode leg, on the right hand side. We're going to put this into the middle. It doesn't matter which hole you put it into, right? As long as you do it like this. All right, we're going to put the long leg on the left side and the short leg on the right side, and have a little space as well to keep it consistent. You don't want it too close together, but you don't want it too spaced out because it is a small breadboard. So all right, there we go. So now we need to have, we also want this one as well, the HC-05 Bluetooth module. I think I'm going to shove that here actually. Let's put that there. Okay, so there's our Bluetooth module. And we want to power this thing up. So if you go to the back, right, we have to put in on the VCC, the red wire. So it should be here, and plug that into the positive rail, and plug the black wire to the ground, the negative rail, just like that. Okay, good. Right, what's the next part? Now, we want to get the resistors plugged in, and we want the resistors to be plugged to the short end. But for the resistors, I think we need to cut the legs because they're quite long. We don't want the long legs to be such an obstruction. So what we could do is maybe just, well, first you want to bend the legs. So just bend the legs accordingly. We're going to get some scissors because we want to cut these legs and just make them a little bit shorter as well. So right, there we go. Now let's get some scissors. I've got some scissors right here. We're going to cut these legs. So move this aside just a bit and let's cut these. Okay, that's one. Let's do the others. Right, and last one. You don't want it too short and you don't want it too long. You want it to be able to fit snugly in there with it holding and not obstructing your fingers and the other wires. So anyway, let's plug this in. Okay, we've got this. Now we're going to jam this in there. Now make sure you align it with the negative leg, the short leg, and just plug it in there. Make sure the other end of the resistor goes into the negative rail and not the positive. So you need to do it for each one. Now these are 220 ohm resistors. The smaller the resistance, the brighter the LED. You don't want it too low. 220 is usually okay for reasonably bright light. You can get 180 ohm resistors as well, but I tend to use 220 for LEDs because it gives the right amount of brightness. Anything above that is usually too dark. All right, so there we go. We've got that. Now we want to connect the LEDs to the digital ports, and we're also going to connect the Bluetooth module as well to the digital ports. Now, for the let's do this one first. So we're going to use the 20mm orange and green wires. Now on the back, right on the back, we have the transmit and receive pins, the TXD and the RXD respectively. So the TXD is there, it's right next to the ground. And for the TXD, I am going to use the orange wire. Now we could plug it here or we could plug it at the back. It doesn't really matter. Just for intents and purposes, I'm going to jam it onto the front. Now, I did say we're going to plug the TXD into pin 10. So pin 10, we're going to program to make it the RX. So it's going to transmit from the Bluetooth module, transmit, and it will receive into pin 10. And similarly, it's going to transmit from the pin 11, excuse me, and it will go into the receive, into the RX on this side. So the RX is right next to the TX. Right, and we're going to assign pin 11. And this will reflect on the programming a little bit later. Now I need to just clear these bits of paper and legs out the way. So if you excuse me just for one moment. Okay, good. Let's take this apart. Take this away more like. Okay, now as far as the LED lights, we've got to make sure that we plug each light into a digital port. So in order for us to have that happen, we have to plug each long leg, each anode has to be plugged into a digital port. So I've decided to use the yellow for the first LED, and that's going to go into pin 5. Again, we are following the Fritzing diagram. And we are assigning a blue wire. Remember to plug it into the right hole. It has to align to the anode. Okay, and the second LED goes into pin 6. And last but not least, we have this one, the third LED. These are all green colored, by the way, if in case you forgot. They are transparent, but they do light up as green. So that will go into number 7. All right, so there we go. Now these wires are quite long. We could have used shorter wires, but you never know. But anyway, they do work all the same. But that's the smart home lighting simulation. That's just the model, well, the device. We haven't programmed it yet. We will get to that in just a moment. So that's the front part, and this is the back part. Okay. Right, there we go. Now, the next part is we want to take out this, we want to be sure that the Bluetooth module has the right configuration. So let's take it out of the smart home device. And you're going to have to grab your HC-05 configurator, the Bluetooth configurator. If you don't know how to make one of these, or you're not sure what this is, go to my YouTube video on my channel and you'll find out how to make one of these. So there's also a link in the description. So yep, just plug that in, and you also want to plug the wire, USB wire, to your computer. Just jam that in there, and in a few moments we're going to get started with the configuration. So all right, that's plugged in. Now what you do is go to Arduino IDE. Okay, you can load up any sketch, it doesn't matter, but make sure you go to Tools, make sure the board is Arduino Uno, and make sure you choose the right port. And if you do it correctly, the serial monitor will load up. So there's my serial monitor right there. Now make sure you're at 38,400 baud, and let's just make sure this thing is working. So if you see the AT command, right, everything's okay. Let's just check the name, AT plus name. So the name is HC-05_PCM00. Okay, let's check the baud rate. Okay, it should be AT plus UART, and the UART is 38,400,0,0. That is what we want. If your baud rate is something else other than 38,400, then you want to set it like this. So AT plus UART equals 38,400,0,0. Okay, something else you also need to know as well is that the Bluetooth module, when you try to connect with an Android phone, it may ask you for a password. If you want to know what the password is, by default it should be 0000 or 1234. Otherwise you can set your own password. So if I type in AT plus PSWD, it says the pin is 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can allocate your own password or just stick with the default. I'm just going to stick with the default because there's nothing wrong with it. All right, now, once we are done with that, and your UART, your baud rate is 38,400, you are ready to disconnect this from the configurator. Now, let's get rid of the configurator and let's plug this back in. So again, just make sure you align the right pin to the right location, so it should just be like that. All right. Now, the next part of this tutorial is we are going to connect this device via the Bluetooth module with a smartphone. So we're going to be using an Android smartphone, Samsung S20 Ultra, for intensive purposes. This will not work with iPhone or any iOS/iPad OS device because of the limitations and the security restrictions with Apple not wanting to support these Bluetooth 2.0 legacy modules, so to speak. So for those of you with iOS or iPad OS devices, I do apologize. This part of the tutorial will not work for you, so do forgive me. Hopefully in future we will create a tutorial that does have modules that can satisfy almost every single phone. But until then, we're going to be using the Android environment. So with that being said, let's carry on. So we want to connect this to the device. So what we're going to do, we're going to connect this to the power. We're going to connect that to computer. You can see how the Bluetooth module is flashing red light. At least we know it's on. Now with the phone, we're going to go to the Play Store and we're going to search for an app. We're going to search for an Arduino Bluetooth controller. It needs to have a terminal capability as well as button capability. You'll see in a moment why and how. Now, for this tutorial, we're going to use the Arduino Bluetooth controller all-in-one from My Valley Apps. Some of these apps may come and go, so if for whatever reason you can't see this app on your Google Play, feel free to freelance another app. All right, well, let's give that a try. We're going to install it. So just wait for that to install. Right, once it's done, just click open. Right, now it's likely the reason why that's not connecting is because we haven't actually connected the Bluetooth module. So we need to go to Bluetooth and find the HC-05, yep, that module right there. So we need to pair this one. The password should be, or the pin number should be 1234. So let's pair that. Right, once that's done, we are good to go, and then just load this up. Now let's see. Right, good, this is what we want. Okay, it says you need to pair the Bluetooth with Arduino to make it visible here. This is what you should get. So you click OK and press this, and it will ask you to pair. So you want to pair it to this one, and it will connect, and hopefully it will work. Do you want to set the device as default? You can say yes or no, it doesn't matter. And that's pretty much that. Now, we have a terminal capability where we can type commands. You can type in characters and things. Nothing is happening because we haven't put any code into this board, so do bear in mind. Okay. But the function that we really want to use is the buttons function here. So this is very useful because these could be light switches. You could program each one to turn on one of these lights. Right now, as we said, we can't do anything with this because there's no code in there. But I'll just show you. If we go inside one of the buttons, you can configure each button. So say if you push a button, it will send a respective command to turn a certain light on or off. You could maybe, for example, you could use the number 4 to turn the light on, and you could use the number 1 to turn it off. So you could put a 4 and a 1 here, and then it would turn the light on and off. But as I said before, there's no code in there. So that's the next part. All right, now what we're going to do next is create some code to upload to the Arduino Uno R3 board. We're going to use mBlock 5, and to get to mBlock 5, or if you don't have mBlock 5, you go to mblock.makeblock.com and go to download, and you can download either the Windows version or the Mac version. We are not going to be supporting the mobile app. We are going to just use the PC computer version, Windows or Mac respectively. Right, once you have downloaded that, you install it to your respective computer, and then you just load up mBlock. Now, as of writing, or as of today, we are using mBlock version 5.4.0. It's very similar to Scratch 3.0. In fact, it's pretty much the same platform, but it just supports all kinds of boards and electronics and so forth. Now, if you wish, you can go to the top right corner, click the panda silhouette. You can sign in with Google SSO. If you don't wish to do that, it doesn't matter, just skip it, but I just like to use it. First thing we're going to do is we are going to we're going to add the Arduino Uno board. So you click on add. Right, and scroll down and find the Arduino Uno from mBlock, which is this one. And then you'll have all these respective blocks which you can use to program an Arduino Uno board. But we also want to install an extension so that it supports the Bluetooth module, in this case the HC-05 Bluetooth module. Anyway, let's just start building our program first. So we're going to say what happens when Arduino Uno starts up. We do need the forever block as well, so let's just put that there. Now, if you want to save your program, be my guest. We'll call it HC-05_home_LED, 3 LED. Okay, we'll save that. Right, and it will save. And if, in case you mess up later, you can always go back and load it up again. Just open, right? Make sure you're signed into your account. Now, for the extension, you want to go to extension, okay, down at the bottom, and you'll get this window here. And I have actually created my own extension. It's available for every single person who uses mBlock 5. You just go to the extensions, it's already on the cloud. All right, just put in my initials PCM. You'll find it's not this one, it's this one. HC-05 Bluetooth PCM. It has a diagram of a Bluetooth module and it's got this download thing. So you want to download this. But the only thing is, has the extension actually been added? Now you need to download it first and then you need to add it. How do you know? Well, if you can see the HC-05 Bluetooth here, and you've got all of these blocks, then you know you've done it correctly. If not, just go back to extension and just search for it again. Type in PCM. I have created other modules like the blink module and the ultrasonic sensor. I'm sidetracking somewhat, but if it says remove, that means it's already been added. So let's go back. Now, we want to configure the Bluetooth modules. So we want to put this there. So we want the RxD and the TX to be 10 and 9 respectively. Okay, or is it 11 and 10? Excuse me. Sorry, beg your pardon. Sorry, it should be 11 and 10. Is that right? Yep. It should be 11 and 10 for the send and receive, or the receive and send. Okay, remember the baud rate has to be 38,400 because that was what we programmed it to be using the configurator. Right, now, if you just bear with me for a moment. Now, the Bluetooth module has to check whether it's receiving data from the user or the Android smartphone. So if, oh, and by the way, if you click here, you can see this is the Arduino IDE code. So whichever blocks you put in, it will automatically generate the code. So later, if you wish, you could just copy and paste this into Arduino IDE if you so choose. Right, so that's very useful if you want to know what's happening here and how does that translate to Arduino C code. You know, be my guest and give that a try. So now it says if the HC-05 module is receiving data, then we want to read that data, find out, and we want to put that data into a variable, HR variable, a character variable called data, D-A-T-A. So we're going to store that. And we're going to check that variable. So it could be like if we push the number 1 on the phone, we want this light to turn on or this light to turn off. So that is extremely important. So now, this part's quite straightforward. Now we're going to put in some conditional statements. We have a module here, like a block module here, which will save us a lot of trouble. So the characters that this supports, this extension will support 0 to 9 and A to Z. So these are the characters that it will support. So you don't have to manually type it in yourself. You just use the drop-down box. It really makes life a lot easier. Okay, so what we do is we say if what's in the data variable is equal to, let's say we want, give you an example. Let's say we're going to have the number 1 to be, let's say, why don't we say number 5? Number 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, and 7 will turn on the lights. So if number 5 is on, then we want to set the digital pin. Right now, bear in mind, the first light, which is yellow, it's going to be number 5. So it's going to be pin number 5. Right, you can right click and duplicate this. Now for the second light, it's going to be pin 6. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that is correct. Yes. Okay. So let's put that in. All right. So this is for. Oh, tell you what. Let's just close that. We'll call this LED 1. So I'm just putting these little post-it notes here, so I can remind myself. Oh, let's get rid of that. Excuse me. Let's add the comment. Let's put LED 2. This is for LED 2, and we want one for LED 3 as well. Right, we've got to make sure we get the numbers correct. So let's sort this out. So if we push number 5, it's going to set this to high. High means on and low means off. And LED 2, so remember it's got to be pin 6 and pin 7. Okay, just like that. Right, so this is how we turn them on. But what if we want to turn them off? Well, we need different characters to turn them off. Okay, you can't press 5 again and then turn it off. 5 is only for on for the first LED. Now, what we could do is, might make it easier if we just say, right now, what I'll do is I'll just take this. Let's just copy this. Oh, that's good. It copies the note as well. That's useful. Right, so let's make number 1. Number 1 means it turns off. So that's going to be LED 1 off. I hope you're still following me. So right now, we pretty much do the same as what we did here for the other 3 lights. So this is going to be 2, 5 and 1, 6 and 2, 7 and 3. So those are the characters we have to send to the Bluetooth module in order for the light to turn on or off. So 5, 5, and 6, 6. And then, right, this one should be 7 and 3. Right, there we go. High, low, high, low, high, low. Make sure you get the highs and the lows. Make sure you get the pin numbers right. And make sure you get the characters right. So it's got to be spot on. We will save it. Now, we could add, if we wanted to, I mean, right now, these characters only turn on certain lights, separate lights one by one, or turn them off one by one. What we could do is we could have an extra button or extra characters. So we press one button and it turns on all the lights and it turns off all the lights simultaneously. By the way, this is what the Arduino C code looks like. So you can see, look. Yeah, that's what the code looks like. It looks good. And yep, these are LEDs, so it will configure pin 5, 6, and 7 as output, which is correct. 38,400 baud for the Bluetooth, which is correct also. Now we're going to, what I'm going to do is we'll have all LEDs on and all LEDs off. So if we want to do that, now let's, why don't we, so we've got 5, 1, 6, 2, 7, 3. What I do is I usually say 9. I say 9 for all LEDs on and 0 for all LEDs off. Now, because we are dealing with 3 LEDs, and this is only for 1, so what we want to do is we want to copy it twice, so we have 3 of them. So we want 5, 6, and 7, right? High, 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 and then this will be low, low, low. Simple as that. Okay. Right, just like that. And then just insert that at the bottom. It has to be encased within the conditional statement. If HC-05 is receiving data, then. So just put that there. There we go. All right, now we want to save that. Now, make sure your Arduino board is connected with the USB wire to your computer, and you want to connect down at the bottom. And make sure you connect to the right COM port to your computer, and then you just hit the upload button like that. And hopefully with any luck it should just upload. And there we go. It's done. There's the code. And of course, as I said before, don't forget to save. I know I've done that a few times. Just make sure you get that bit done. Now we're going to interface the app with the entire device. So before we do that, I'm going to disconnect the wire that connects this device to the computer, and we're going to use a lithium battery so it's independent from the computer. So it's a little more portable now. All right, good. Now we're going to use the Arduino Bluetooth controller app, and let's see if this thing works. So in a few moments, it's going to say that it's connected. Yep, just like that. We're going to dim the light slightly so you can see it better. Now we do have the terminal section of the app. Now, we did say that if we send a number 5 character to this device, it will turn the first LED on, which it does. Okay, we've got a number 5. Let's send a number 6. And let's send a number 7. Ooh, very nice. Now, we did say if we send a number 1, the first light will turn off. Let's alternate this slightly. Let's try number 3, and it will turn the third light off, and number 2 turns it off, the middle one off. Now, what happens if we send a number 9? It will turn all the lights on, and 0 will turn all the lights off. Very good. Very good. Of course, we can alternate. So we could put a 6, we could put a 2, a 9, 0, and so on. Now, this, of course, is very good, but it's going to be very cumbersome if you're going to be turning lights on and you have to keep opening up a terminal, putting in numbers. It's extremely cumbersome. So to save the trouble, we have the buttons section of the app. So we press the buttons, and now we're going to program the buttons. We only need 4 of the buttons, so these are just the spare buttons. If we hold this down, you can call the button button 1, or if this is going to be a home, you could say, call this the bedroom. Okay, so you want a 5 and a 1. All right, let's give that a test and see if it works. So if we press the bedroom light on, yep, it's that simple. Now let's do the other button. Now let's say that this could be the dining room, and this will be a 6 and a 2, and this one could be, we'll call this one the kitchen, and a 7 and a 3, like that. Right, so we've got a bedroom, a dining room, and a kitchen. You can call them whatever you want, it doesn't matter, as long as you've got the buttons and you can turn them on just like that. And this is all connected with Bluetooth. Now, don't forget, we do have another button, and call this one all lights. And remember, it's 9 for on and 0 for off. Now, give it a test and see if it works. So, bedroom, dining room, kitchen. You can alternate them slightly. All lights on, all lights off. And of course, these do nothing. And by the way, it does tell you down at the bottom, if you push the button, it will tell you what character it's actually sending to the Bluetooth module. So there we go. That is the smart home lighting simulation, or smart home lighting device, using an Android phone and Arduino Uno with the HC-05 Bluetooth module. So if you have any problems or any questions, feel free to get back to me on YouTube or email or whatever, and I'll see you guys again soon. So thank you for all your support, and we'll be in touch. Take care, and goodbye.